Can you hear the blue jay? Super loud. It's very, very squawky. Hi, welcome back. I am outside again. It's lovely, and I want to talk to you about my fall TBR. As I said in a previous video, when I first started making this channel, I sort of overpromised and accidentally basically told you every unread book that I have in my house, and I want to not do that anymore, and I want to just give you the few books that I am definitely planning on reading in the near future. Blue Jay is like right there now. Can you hear it? So I picked out a few books that I am very motivated to read this fall, and wanted to tell you a little bit about them, and then I will check back in once I've read them to tell you what I thought of them. If you've read any of them, please let me know. I'm, always willing to hear your thoughts on anything. So let's get started. So my first one is a classic vampire novel. Apparently it was written before Dracula, so it's like the original, and that is Carmilla. I specifically went looking for gothic fiction, so things that are, like creepy mansions and 1800s style revenge stories and that sort of thing. So this, let's see. As the mist settles over the dark and foreboding forests of Styria, a young woman named Laura finds herself entranced by the enigmatic Carmilla, who has come to stay at her family's castle. Despite Laura's growing unease, she cannot resist the strange allure of her new companion, and soon finds herself caught up in a web of seduction and deception that threatens to consume her. So it's described as having haunting and eerie imagery. I have a feeling it's going to be like that slow burn, creepy vibe. So I am excited to get into this one, and yeah, so I will update you. I'm interested to see, because so many vampire novels have gone wild in theme, and obviously we live in the world of Twilight and that sort of thing. So sometimes it's hard to get like a good, actually creepy vampire novel. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It's pretty short, so I'm sure it'll be a quick read. But I am really looking forward to this one. I actually hadn't really heard of this one before. It seems like it's like classic and lots of people know about it, but I've just never heard of it. So if you know about this one, if you've read it, please let me know. Tell me your thoughts. Okay, so the next one is also a classic. It's by an author who I've mentioned before, and that is Shirley Jackson. We Have Always Lived at the Castle. I've heard very good things about this one. I really enjoyed The Haunting at Hill House. Or The Haunting of Hill House. I don't know, I get them confused. So I've heard really good things about this one. This one, supposedly that similar, like creepy, gothic vibe, and essentially just about people who live in a castle. And I don't really know much other than that. I remember reading the synopsis before, and enjoying the sound of it, but I haven't read it recently, or the synopsis rather, and so I don't really remember what it's about other than that, but I don't think I really need to. I almost feel like it's a spoiler to go into it knowing too much. I definitely heard of this one before, more than Carmilla. So, I mean, obviously, another one, if you've read it and you liked it or you hated it or whatever, feel free to let me know. But this is another short one. I tried to do some shorter reads. As you probably know, I'm a huge Robin Hobb fan, so when I plan to read her books, I plan to go in, like, fully. I just recently started the third trilogy in the series. I read the first one, and it broke me to be quite honest, in the best way possible, and I needed a little bit of a break, and so I was like, for fall, I'm just gonna step away from that and read some fall reads. And I do like the idea of reading some shorter things so that you can get more reading in, more stories, and different types of stories and atmospheres. So I'm enjoying that some of these are small, and I look forward to reading this one. Okay. So next on the list, I tried to do some variety in this TBR. So we have, those are the two classics. This next one is medieval. I think it's like medieval horror or dark medieval. And that is Once Was William by M.R. Carey. I'd not heard of this until just recently. I went on a bit of a book buying spree at the beginning or the end of August, and I saw this. It's essentially about, I believe, a knight or a priest. I don't remember, and it doesn't say on the back, but basically they're brought back to life to from the dead to aid this medieval village during some sort of traumatic event. And sort of in the same way that I was talking about We Have Always Lived in the Castle, I read the synopsis, I enjoyed it, but I almost feel like it's a detriment to go into it knowing too much about it, so I avoid reading too many reviews, anything like that. It did seem like it had good reviews. This is the medieval horror on my list, and I'm looking forward to it. I haven't read a good medieval fiction in a while, so I'm wondering if this will be in a similar vein to Between Two Fires. I have no idea. I'm just sort of speculating. I would not be upset if it was. But yeah, so I had just recently found this while I was shopping for new books, and I don't know if it's new or not. I don't think it is, or I think it's fairly new. And I'm really looking forward to it. So if you've heard of this one, if you've read it, definitely let me know. Okay, so this next one is my fantasy entry onto my fall TBR, and that is The City of Lost Chances by Adrian, Russian name. So I had this on on Amazon I have like specifically a book wish list where if I've bought a bunch of books or my TBR is still really long, I will just put it on that list and wait until I need new books to, get them. And this one had been on there for a while and I had forgotten about it. I don't even remember when I found it, but I had put it on there a while ago, and when I was looking for fall reads, I went back through specifically looking for books with a creepy forest involved, and this seems to have that. It sounds like there's a city that is having an occupation from like an outside force, and terrible things are happening, murders, thieves, and there is a forest that has a portal to different worlds, 1,000 worse places. And so I like the idea of like a fantasy with a dark forest that has portals involved. So this one didn't have as high reviews as I expected it to necessarily, but it did win Best Novel 2022, the BSFA award. So I feel like it's got to be good. It sounds really good. I'm very interested to see what it's like. This is a longer one, so it's going to take me a little bit longer than the others. But I definitely had to have a good fantasy entry on there. So yeah. City of Last Chances. If you've read this one as well, I'm going to say that about every single one of them, but let me know what you thought. This is another one I haven't really heard many people talking about. So, fascinated to see what it's like, and get right into it. Okay, so that is actually my full TBR. Aside from this one, What Moves the Dead is what I'm currently reading. I'm about a little less than halfway. It is going to be a quick read. It's another shorter one. I was a little hesitant to pick up a T. Kingfisher, only because I've never read him before, and a lot of people recommend T. Kingfisher, like to the point where I don't want to sound like a hipster when I say this, but like sometimes when I see that everybody across the board likes a specific novel, I'm like, I probably won't like it. I don't know what that says about me, but so I was a little bit afraid that T. Kingfisher was going to fall into that category of like people say it's good, but it's sort of bland or something like that. So I went into it a little bit skeptical, but I will say I am enjoying it so far. There are things about the prose that are a little bit weird that I don't necessarily enjoy, but the story as a whole I'm really liking. So I'm also a big fan of like mushrooms and, like I said, like dark forests, and this definitely has that. So I am very interested to see where the story goes, how it's concluded. I have a good idea of like what the issue is, what's going on. I do like the characters. I will say there's pretty good character development. I like the main character's character development. At first, I was like, oh, like, is this character just, like, being shoehorned in? Because it's so short, I was like, do we have time for this, essentially? Do we have time to get into this kind of elaborate backstory and character building? But I think it works, actually. And I am really enjoying it. I like the unique perspective of the main character. And not having them just be like a run-of-the-mill nameless person, or I mean not nameless, but like, you know what I mean, like sort of blank canvas that we're just seeing through their eyes essentially what's going on, which oftentimes when you have a book this short it can be that way, especially with horror things and things of that nature. So I think it is a nice thing that we get like an in-depth character. You've got character building, and I'd say all the characters actually are very, like, have their own unique personality, and I am really enjoying it so far. So this one will be finished soon, and once I finish all of these books, I'll come back and let you know what I thought and review them. I realized in my last video I skipped rating the first two, and I will try to be better about that. I'm just going to give everything a rating, probably out of 5, maybe 10, depending on like how elaborate I want my analysis or my rating to be. But in my last video, the first 2 books that I talked about, I'd say were like 4.5s out of 5. Silver in the Wood, and what was the other one? Lapvona, medieval horror. And I would say they're not like perfect books. There are things about them that I didn't necessarily enjoy, which is the case for most books, but they were still really good. So like 4.5 out of 5. This one I'd say currently like a 4 out of 5. We'll see if that changes as I get near the end. But I'm really looking forward to fall reading. I have a ton of other books that I picked out. I think I bought like 14 books, with like the fall vibe in mind. So this is just sort of the tip of the iceberg, but this is what I'm telling you I'm going to read. This is what I'm going to read. And then depending on how I'm feeling afterwards, I'll pick out another few and let you know, like, this is my new trajectory and where I'm going with what I'm reading. So I hope some of these are ones that you've read or that you are looking forward to reading, or hearing my review about. And thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon.